right, Derby fans, our regulators are checking the teams for safety. We are making sure gear is in place and ready to go for the bout. And while that's happening, we would like to introduce to you the team we could not do this without, the regulators. Reffing for the regulators tonight, head referee, Reverend Knuckleface.
Game executioner, Lollipop.
Jam referee, Stabitha Christie.
Jam referee, Ref Boyardee.
Front pack ref, Infidel Castro.
Backpack ref, Transylvania.
Outside pack ref, June Cleavage.
Penalty tracker, Mad Moxie.
Penalty tracker assist, Chasen Voorhees.
Penalty box admin, Zero Cool.
Penalty box admin, Psycho.
Eye in the Sky, Scaren Jaeger.
Eye in the Sky, Ziggy Stardust.
And scoreboard, Retromancer.
Let's hear it for the regulators. It could be the only love they get all night. We would like to direct your attention to the video screens as we show you a video shot recently at tryouts for the Arizona Derby Dames. All right, who's ready for some roller derby?
All right, first up on the track are your Cupids. Skating tonight on your Cupids is number 00 Novocaine, number 4 Cherry Kiss, 007 Cupid Clutch, 011 Skeletori, number 22 Mimi Mahler, 24K Gold Digger, should have said that later. Oh. 38 NC Jammer, 42 is Irish Car Bomb, number 55 Skid Vicious, T65 BB My Valentine, 182 Hannibal Lecture, 600 Thigh Voltage, 616 Antifa, 772 Annihilate Ya, 1029 Reckless Rose, and number 623 is your co-captain, Hollyhood. And I said it once earlier, but I'll say it again because 24K is your captain, Gold Digger. And helping them out tonight are the bench coaches, Ellie Mayhem and Coach Ella.
Now taking the track, it's your Voodoo Dolls. Skating tonight for the Voodoo Dolls, number 5, Made in Asia. Number 11, Slaughtermelon. Number 12, Maximum Hover Doll. Number 59, Raoul Juke. Number 95, Lightning the Queen. Number 100, Callie. Number 192, Voodoo Baby. Number 213, Militia. Number 626, Remy LeBeau. Number 669, Nikki Badass. Number 925, Evil Pindall. Number 1701, Spock Block. Number 1951, Strange Juju. Number 2011, Colette Razorcat. Number 2187, Voodoo Slaya. Number 2323, Quivered Stitches. Number 34, your co-captain, Hex. And number 300, your captain, Voodoo Dolly. On the bench tonight for the Voodoo Dolls are Thrill Sergeant and Jason Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. Tonight's national anthem singer is Rico Machado. He is a Phoenix-based actor and singer, and he is a proud pug dad and collects sneakers in his free time. He can even sometimes be heard on the Sneak This Sneaker podcast.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattle, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Good job, Meg.
All right, we are ready to get underway. Your first jammers on the line for the Cupids is going to be NC Jammer.
And for the Voodoo dolls, it's Dolly Spartan.
Pack moves into the corner, and getting out of the pack as your lead jammer is NC Jammer for the Cupids.
Dolly still making her way through the pack. She's fighting with some blockers at the front.
NC in the middle of a scoring pass now, heading into the front straightaway, trying to get away and escorted off the track by one of the Voodoo dolls' blockers.
Dolly finally makes it out of the pack, is coming around to score some points.
And NC, looking at the defensive setup, calls off the rest of the jam. Okay, looks like we're setting up for the second jam, and it's going to be a power jam for the Cupids already. Penalty called on Voodoo Dolly there in the previous jam, so it's going to be a power jam for Cherry Kiss and the Cupids. Early for that kind of action here in the bout.
Ooh.
Cherry Kiss trying to make her way through the pack and able to shake loose and is clear.
Cherry's coming around to score some points. The Cupids are the only ones who can score points in this jam, so this is a great opportunity for them to have so early in the game.
Cherry runs into the defensive wall. You can see she's got a blocker up there trying to free things up, able to get one of the blockers peeled away. And Cherry picks up all 5 of the points on the scoring pass during the power jam. Cupid's out in front, 9-0.
The Voodoo Dolls did a great job keeping that power jam to only 5 points.
Jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is going to be Voodoo Baby.
And for the Cupids, it's Skeletori.
Pack making their way through the turn now into the back straightaway. Still nobody clear. Tori down to the track, and the entire pack passes her by while she's on the infield, so she's going to start over from scratch.
Voodoo Baby is making her way to the front of the pack, but she got taken to the infield by I'll annihilate ya.
And just like that, both jammers out of the pack. Voodoo Baby out just a little ahead. She's going to see what she can do here as far as scoring before calling the jam off. Takes a hard hit from Nova. Stop me if you've heard that before. Takes a hard hit from Nova there at the end of the straightaway, knocked into the rail. Ends up picking up no points on the jam.
So that's a 0-0 jam for both teams. Up next, jamming for the Cupids is Rose.
And your Voodoo Dolls jammer is Voodoo Slaya.
So, sorry.
Changing.
Rose quickly makes her way to the front of the pack. Ooh, but Slaya gets out first and is making her way around.
Both jammers out trying to catch the pack. The pack is moving quickly now.
Yep.
Small pack out there, just 2 blockers for the
The
Voodoo
red wall
Dolls.
staying in front, making it hard for Slaya to pick up those points. Ooh.
And Slaya is all but consumed by a blocker coming out of the...
Yeah, it looks like Mimi Mahler took her to the infield.
All right, the Voodoo Dolls get 2 points up on the board. 3 points up on the board, excuse me. 9-5 now here in the early going. It's NC Jammer again for the Cupids.
And that's Nikki Badass for the Voodoo Dolls.
And then NC Jammer is your lead jammer now trying to catch up to the pack. The pack lying in wait with a defensive wall from the Voodoo Dolls, and NC's going to have to call it off with Nikki Badass coming in behind her.
Up next for the Cupids is number 55, Skid Vicious.
There's some action afoot. I hear Reds down a jammer from Reverend Knuckleface. And it's going to be a power jam for the Voodoo Dolls. Taking over as jammer is Princess Slaya.
There's a lot of shuffling happening in the blocker box.
So we are underway, Princess Slaya versus a full pack in the Voodoo Dolls power jam. Nikki Badass to the front of the pack, trying to lessen up some blockers.
Slaya pushed them out of play, which means they have to let her go so she can come around and get some points. The Cupids are trying to speed up the pack to make Slaya's life harder. She has to skate even faster to try to come around to them.
12 seconds left in the power jam. Slaya finishes off her scoring pass and calls off the rest of the clock.
Looks like 5 points for the Voodoo Dolls. Another 5-point power jam.
Another good defensive effort by the Cupids to keep the power jam scoring to 1 pass. Up to jam now for the Voodoo Dolls is Voodoo Dolly.
And for the Cupids is Skeletori. It seems like one of the Voodoo Dolls picked up a penalty in that last jam, so they're skating down a player. Ooh, and Dolly gets out pretty quickly. Tori's still fighting her way through that pack. And Tori finally makes it out as Dolly is starting her scoring pass.
Dolly was keeping an eye on the action and saw Tori coming in, called it off. Voodoo Dolls put 2 points on the board. They step into the lead, 12-10.
Jamming for the first time tonight for the Voodoo Dolls is Spock Block. And I think also jamming for the first time tonight for the Cupids is Hannibal Lecture.
Both jammers trying to aim for the same spot in space, and Hannibal Lecture able to win that fight at the moment. Both jammers end up on their knees and now back up and trying to fight their way through the pack.
Spock is almost out. Ooh, and there they go, making it past Skid Vicious. The red team's trying to play some offense. And Spock Block is coming around to score some points.
Spock Block now up into the far turn, trying to make their way through the pack. Knocked off, spun down onto the infield along the front straightaway. Mid-scoring pass with just a couple of seconds left on the clock. There it is. And we will see how many points Spock Block was able to pick up. 4 points for Spock Block in that last jam.
That brings our points to 10 for the Cupids and 16 for the Voodoo Dolls.
And it looks like we're going to have another power jam. It's going to be Nikki Badass for the Voodoo Dolls. It's going to be a power jam for the Voodoo Dolls.
Let's see how many points they can pick up this time. Seems like a full pack in the box, though. Never mind, I spoke too early. The red team immediately getting into the front, trying to speed up that pack. The Voodoo Dolls are trying to catch Hollyhood in the back to try to make that pack slow down.
Nikki able to get clear of the pack and will be coming around now on her first scoring attempt with 30 seconds to go in the power jam.
That pack's speeding up again as Nikki Badass is coming around for a scoring pass. Ooh, oh! She stayed on her skates and we all celebrated a little too soon.
Almost able to pull off an absolutely stunning, beautiful pass. Another 5-point power jam, so we've had 3 power jams so far, and they've all scored 5 points each, so that's actually a good defensive effort by the teams that were on the defensive side of those.
Yeah, one good or bad power jam can really make a big difference. So far, the defensive teams have been doing a great job.
We've got Rose out there jamming for the Cupids.
And Evil Pin Doll for the Voodoo Dolls.
Rose is quickly to the front of the pack, dispenses with a blocker, and gets the second blocker pushed out of play and is able to clear the pack.
That white jammer is still stuck in the back behind Mimi Mahler and Cherry Kiss. Ooh.
Rose with a little bit of fancy footwork, but ends up into the rail. Gets those blockers out of play, though, and is able to get through on a scoring pass and come around for some more.
And the white jammer is finally able to get out. Ooh, takes a knee, but she's still going. Ooh. Rose flies through another pass. Just seems to pick up a few more points. 10 points for the Cupid.
We've got a team timeout by the Cupids, so we'll take a break from the action here momentarily. Your score, Voodoo Dolls 21, Cupids 20. It's close after that 10-point jam by the Cupids.
You know, and while we have some time, I'd love to tell you about the AZDD merch booth. Be sure to visit the Arizona Derby Dames merch booth to get your favorite league and team merchandise. We have t-shirts, tank tops, hats, koozies, as well as stickers and buttons of your favorite team. That is also where you can get your souvenir cups for the night.
We'd like to let you know about Lost Dutchman Tattoo. They're a tattoo shop specializing in various styles, from realism to traditional. You can also customize your own tattoo. Walk-ins are accepted. Their shop is located at 4121 North 19th Avenue. That's the east side of 19th Avenue, just north of Indian School Road. That's Lost Dutchman Tattoo.
Looks like another power jam. This time the Voodoo Dolls are the only ones who can score some points.
Reckless Rose in the penalty box for the Cupids after picking up a penalty, leading to this power jam. That's Voodoo Baby, number 192. Trying to find a way through the pack, and defenders recycling to the front and routing her off onto the infield.
The Voodoo Dolls seem to be keeping someone in the back. Baby's trying to push them out of play in the front.
The Cupid's defense able to get together and reunite at the front of the pack, knocking Voodoo Baby off onto the infield. 16 seconds to go in the power jam, and the blockers are out of play. So now Voodoo Baby's got 12 seconds to try to make it around the track.
White is doing a great job of keeping a goad in the back. That way, the pack is in the back, so blockers can only go so far forward trying to stop the jammer in the front. She seemed to score a few points before the whistle blew.
There we are, 2 points for the Voodoo Dolls, so Voodoo Baby able to pick up 1 point in the ghost point at the back of the pack. Just over 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 23-20 Voodoo Dolls, and the Voodoo Dolls send Cryptic Callie to the jammer line.
Jamming for the first time. And then we also have NC Jammer. So you have two former minor assaults jamming. Ooh, and Callie gets out very quickly.
NC trying to sneak by on the inside, has to reestablish behind that defensive wall of 4 Voodoo Dolls.
Yeah, Cupids only have 2 blockers out right now. They have some people sitting in the box, so it's making NC's job a little harder. Callie comes around, scores some points. Novocaine and Alanile H.O. playing some great offense. NC finally getting out. And Callie calls it.
I hear from the infield, sounds like an arms penalty on NC Jammer. NC is going to be parked in the box. It's going to be another power jam for the Voodoo Dolls.
And we have Nikki Badass doing the honors.
So NC there picked up an arms penalty trying to fight her way through the pack.
And we have 4 red blockers and only 3 white blockers, so white is still at a bit of a disadvantage. Ooh. Nikki takes a hard hit up into the rail. The pack is speeding up.
Nikki patiently waiting for her blockers to establish themselves.
Nikki was almost out, but she was stopped by Mimi Mahler, which I feel like is becoming a theme of the night. She finally gets out and is coming around to score some points. Got about 10 seconds left on the clock. Maybe she can make it.
"15 seconds left in the power jam for Nikki Badass."
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the quarter clock.
Quarter clock has expired.
The quarter clock ran out.
This
I got
is
a
our
little
last
confused.
jam of the first quarter. Nikki trying to spin through on the inside, gets routed off and is going to let the last couple of seconds expire off the jam clock, and that'll do it for the power jam. Again, good defense on the power jam by the Cupids. 3 points for Nikki Badass on the power jam. That's going to take our score to 31-20. The Voodoo Dolls in front. And we are at our first quarter break. So we will step aside for about 5 minutes. Let the teams catch their breath, and we'll pick the action up once again.
All right, make some noise, and we'll have some people coming around with T-shirts. If you make enough noise, they might send a T-shirt your way.
All right, fans, it's time for our first raffle prize of the evening. Get your orange raffle tickets ready. First prize winning ticket of the evening is 786076. That is your orange raffle ticket, 786076. Make your way over to the raffle table, which is directly underneath the team scoreboard, just outside the entrance to the front straightaway, and claim your prize. All right, it is time to get back to the action, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, Derby fans, valley-wide watching on the broadcast. We are back to the action. It's going to be Princess Leia for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Skeletori for the Cupids, normally playing on the same team, jamming against each other tonight.
Leia out and clear of the pack for the Voodoo Dolls.
Ooh, but Tori is hot on her heels. The Voodoo Dolls are trying to keep some points for Leia in the back. Ooh. Jumps around them on the coping.
Princess Leia, jamming specialist, coming down along the inside of the corner and able to get by without getting touched. Puts 4 points up on the board for the Voodoo Dolls. It's going to be Voodoo Dolly. Is that Voodoo Dolly? That's Voodoo Dolly. Yeah, Voodoo Dolly for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Car Bomb for the Cupids. Car Bomb's making her way to the front, stuck behind Voodoo Baby and Maximum Hover Doll. And she makes her way out, but Dolly is also coming after her. We'll see if the Voodoo Dolls manage to pick up any points at the end there.
And they did. It was 4 points for the Cupids and 2 points for the Voodoo Dolls during that jam. So Dolly able to pick up a couple of points in the back end there before the jam was called.
That's what happens when Dolly is skating behind you. She's just so fast. Let's see, it looks like Holly Hood jamming for the Cupids for the first time tonight.
And the jammer for the Voodoo Dolls is Hex.
Ooh.
Both jammers out of the pack already. And it's going to be a race as they try to catch each other zipping around the track.
And both skaters are so fast. Ooh. I'm not sure if the Voodoo Dolls managed to pick up any points there.
No points for either side.
You know, usually it's better for no one to get points than to accidentally give some points away. Jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is Nikki Badass.
And that's Cherry Kiss jamming for the Cupids.
Cherry almost makes it out. Oh, but Dolly falls off the track as she tries to stop her, so Cherry can just get back on.
Nikki's out for the Voodoo Dolls as well, so Cherry's going to get one crack at this. Tries around the inside. Able to get past, get her points and call it off before Nikki scores anything on the back end.
You know, the white team was doing a great job playing some offense, but it just was not enough. Let's see, it looks like Skeletori jamming for the Cupids. Pin doll.
Evil Pin Doll jamming for the Voodoo Dolls.
Tori getting held up in the front. Ooh!
There we go.
Both the jammers end up getting out almost at the exact same time. I was about to say Tori got lead, and then she didn't.
So no points for either side, and we will set up for the next jam.
I'm very happy to see Mimi Mahler jamming because she doesn't like it. See, other people are also happy to see Mimi Mahler jam. And it's Voodoo Baby jamming for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Mimi Mahler spins through the pack and is your lead jammer for the Cupids.
Voodoo Baby is out a little bit behind her, about half the track. Ooh, the red team's trying to put some points on the floor for Mimi.
Mimi off onto the infield. She gets back up and is able to call it as Voodoo Baby had slid into the back of the pack and was threatening to take away lead jammer.
Seems like maybe. I was going to say, maybe they both got points.
There we go.
2 points on each side. It's just like that jam didn't happen. And that's Holly Hood jamming for the Cupids.
Princess Leia is jamming for the Voodoo Dolls.
Holly Hood quickly making her way through the pack, coming around to score some points. Leia almost made it out, and then Al stopped her. Ooh. Holly Hood comes out. I was going to say, Leia almost made it out, but then Al almost stopped her this time. Cupid's trying to pick up a few more points.
Pack is picking up speed. The Voodoo Dolls have a 3-wall up in front, and Holly Hood calls it off after getting mired in the defense. 7 points on the board for the Cupids there.
That brings our score to 38 for the Cupids and 39 for the Voodoo Dolls.
And we're going to have a power jam for the Cupids. It's going to be Cherry Kiss for the Cupids.
This is a great opportunity for them to take the lead. We'll see what happens. Cherry Kiss making her way through the pack, stuck behind her sister, Lightning the Queen.
Stout defensive wall from the Voodoo Dolls here as they make their way through the turn and down into the front straightaway again. 35 seconds to go on the power jam.
White got pushed out of play in the front. They had to let her go. Cherry's coming around to score some points. Cupids are trying to keep someone in the back to slow the pack down. And White is out of play in the front, so Cherry just gets to go.
And Cherry calls off the last couple of seconds off the jam clock. 5 points again on the power jam for the Cupids. A lot of power jams, but not a lot of points scored here in the early going as we get within 8 minutes of halftime.
That does bring the Cupids into the lead, though. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going. NC Jammer is jamming for the Cupids.
And Evil Pin Doll is jamming for the Voodoo Dolls.
NC just flies through the pack. I don't know if anyone even touched her. Twin makes it out a little bit behind. She's coming for NC.
And NC slides down onto the infield and is just able to get back and reestablish herself in the track to call the jam off.
Yeah, only the lead jammer can call off the jam, so if Twin had gotten ahead of NC, she wouldn't have been able to call it off anymore. She had some good timing. It's Irish Car Bomb jamming for the Cupids.
And jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is Voodoo Dolly.
Dolly's pushing her way through that pack. Makes it out. But Irish Car Bomb is hot on her heels. Red's trying to stay in the front.
Cupids had their defensive wall far out in front of the pack and were able to get the jam called off before surrendering any points. So the score remains 46-39. There's going to be a break in the action, my ears tell me, and it's a team timeout by the Voodoo Dolls. So Voodoo Dolls going to take a second to talk this one over here. 6 minutes exactly to go until halftime. Cupids 46, Voodoo Dolls 39.
I'm going to take a second to tell you about the Arizona Derby Dames Snack Bar. Our snack bar is a great place to grab a cold beverage or snack. All proceeds go back to the league, and your support is greatly appreciated.
Copper Star Coffee is a locally owned coffee shop and cafe providing hand-blended drinks and award-winning baked goods. such as bagels. I hear they're delicious. Visit them on the southwest corner of 7th Avenue and Heatherbray, that's just north of Indian School, for delicious coffee, tea, muffins, and their incredible homemade bagels every day. I should read ahead. We already mentioned the bagels in this ad spot. That's Copper Star Coffee.
That's how you know the bagels are good. So good we mentioned them twice. All right, taking the track. Looks like it's still Skeletori up for the Cupids. And Cryptic Callie for the Voodoo Dolls.
And a big collision as Callie runs into several blockers for the Cupids. It's chaos, and out the front of the pack goes Skeletori. She's your lead jammer for the Cupids.
I also usually fall when Callie hits me, so. But she's out behind Callie. She's trying to catch her. Ooh. A big pile up in turn 3.
Tori now weaving her way through the pack, gets up towards the front, calls it off before Callie catches up to the back of the pack.
Hollywood was trying to keep a point in the back for Callie, but she just did not get there fast enough.
Cupid's now in front 50-39, and don't look now, but it's going to be an official timeout is what it's going to be. But, spoiler alert, it's going to be a power jam for the Cupids coming up. At least we will see if that...
Probably.
We'll wait for the regulators to get together and dot some I's and cross some T's from the previous jam. We'll let you know about Siphon Draw Apothecary Shop. All natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. We want to shout out this sponsor for providing us with hand sanitizer for our entire season, keeping us safe with clean hands. Visit siphondraw.com for their incredible products or visit them in the historic Goldfield Ghost Town.
Oh, it seems like both jammers may have gotten a penalty. That's why the refs are doing this fun little dance move. So that means both teams will get to put a jammer up, hopefully.
Penalties on both jammers leads to no power jam for either side, and we'll wait for the action to get back here and see who's going to be doing the jamming.
All right, it's still Irish Car Bomb up for the Cupids.
That's going to be Voodoo Dolly for the Voodoo Dolls.
3-3 in the blocker box. Very slow-moving pack at the beginning, but Dolly made her way out eventually.
Dolly just waited for a lane to open and then went. And Dolly is your lead jammer for the Voodoo Dolls. Irish Car Bomb out of the pack for the Cupids as well. Fast-moving pack out there with Voodoo Dolly trying to catch up and get some points scored.
Cupids are trying to stay in the front to see if they could keep their points away from Dolly, but I think she managed to get a few.
So 2 points for the Voodoo Dolls there. Cuts the lead back down to within 10 for the Cupids.
And jamming for tonight for the first time is Thigh Voltage. Oh, she has a bit of a fan section happening, which is fair. I'm part of it, so.
Jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is Hex, your co-captain.
Who I'm also a fan of, but, you know. Ooh. Hex is already out, and Thigh Voltage is running at the front of the pack. Ooh! It was so close. Hex is coming around to get some points.
And Hex able to dodge traffic and zip through the pack on a scoring pass, now coming around for her second.
Thigh Voltage finally makes her way out. And she better run. Oh. So it looks like Hex got taken off the track by Al Annihilatia. but she had to get back on behind her so she didn't get a penalty.
Wait and check the score there on the Voodoo Dolls. And Hexa's productivity.
Five points for the Voodoo Dolls.
Keeping that score close as we get close to halftime. Stepping up to the jammer line for the Voodoo Dolls, jamming for the first time tonight is Militia.
And not for the first time is Irish Car Bomb, because I'm pretty sure it's like every other jam she's been up here so far. Militia's making her way to the front. Ooh, but the Cupids did a great job recycling in front of her.
Irish Car Bomb thought she was home free, and Nikki Bada is able to knock her off the track and force her to reset behind the pack. Neither jammer free at this point. Oh, I lied. There goes Militia.
And Irish Car Bomb was almost out, but she got stopped by Nikki Badass again. Militia, flies through the pack. And
To the delight of the crowd, right in front of the crowd there in the back straightaway. And Irish Car Bomb shakes loose to the pack as well to try to put a stop to the action. Militia unable to catch up to the pack and calls off the jam. Five points for the Voodoo Dolls. That puts them back in front. Lead change. Take a sip of your Gatorade. Voodoo Dolls 51, Cupid's 50, and it's an official timeout.
it's been a very close game.
This looks like a challenge. I'm going to say this looks like a challenge. Is this a challenge?
They're just having a little powwow. Well, they just wanted to talk, hang out. But since we have the time, I would love to tell you about our next bout, which is going to be another doubleheader on Saturday, March 12th at 6 o'clock. The theme for the night will be Leprechauns versus Gold Diggers. So we're green or gold, and we can't wait to see you again here at the Hall of Dames.
As the regulators have their discussion there in the back straightaway. Speaking of the regulators, if you're interested in being a part of the roller derby community, but hitting people just isn't your thing, our regulators are always looking for dedicated and eager minds to learn our rule set and help keep our ladies on the track safe. Our regulator team accepts all gender types. There are various levels of officiating that go on during roller derby bouts. Come be a part of the action and help our league grow. Ask any skater or ref how to get involved. It looks like the discussion is over in the back straightaway, and we'll get an update from Reverend Knuckleface. All right, our referee, Reverend Knuckleface, and his assistant, Reverend Knuckleface's Beard, are currently discussing with the team captains. So we'll be back to the action here momentarily, coming up on halftime of this first bout. Don't forget, if you are just here to check out the adult bout, to stick around for the minor assaults, who are mashing up later on this evening as well. All right, after scoring review in the back straightaway, one more point added onto the board for the Voodoo Dolls, 52-50, Voodoo Dolls in front.
And I will say, as a skater, if you jam, you're like, give me all my points, you know? I put in the effort. I might as well get the points.
Princess Leia for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Skeletori for the Cupids. Again, these two jammers are usually both on the beauties, skating against each other tonight.
Tori is able to fight her way past the pack first, and Tori is your lead jammer for the Cupids.
Coming quickly around the track. Ooh. And Slayer was almost out, but got taken to the infield by Hollywood and Alanile Hacha. Ooh. Tori quickly making her way through the pack.
Slaya out as well, putting the pressure on, and Tori, sensing her lead slipping away, calls off the jam.
Yeah, Slaya is not a jammer you want behind you.
There's getting into a jammer race, and then there's getting into a jammer race with Princess Slaya. That's just silly.
Yeah, you only want Slaya behind you if she's like really, really far behind you.
Less than a minute to go till halftime. Cupid's back in front now, 55-52. It's going to be Cherry Kiss for the Cupids.
And Voodoo Baby. Ooh, quickly getting out on the low for the Voodoo Dolls. Cherry Kiss leaping to the high and makes it around Nikki Badass and Dolly Spartan. Baby trying to pick up some points. Gets stuck behind Mimi Mahler and calls it off.
We've got time for one more jam here before halftime. It's a tie score, 55-55, so somebody's going to take the lead into the second half.
Well, unless they both don't get points.
That's also true. NC Jammer on the jammer line for the Cupids.
And that's Hex for the Voodoo Dolls. Ooh, the Voodoo Dolls sending a player down to the infield because of a penalty. I was going to say, there's been so many lead changes, I think we've missed a few.
We're going to have an official timeout before our final jam of the first half. Referees need to talk something over there and make sure everything is clear, so just a very brief step aside here before we get to the halftime break.
Are you between the ages of 10 and 17 and love to skate? Our minor assaults are looking for new skaters to join their team. Our coaches not only teach techniques and knowledge of the sport, but they also help build leadership, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that will help in life situations far beyond roller derby. Minor skating skills, dedication to learn, and a positive mental attitude are all we require. Come see what all the fun is about. Ask any Arizona Derby dame how to get involved. And if you're interested, you'll see them play later tonight, and you'll see how amazing they really are.
Okay, we are back to the action. Once again, tie score 55-55. Here are for bragging rights heading into halftime, and who gets to take momentum into the second half. Once again, NC Jammer and Hex.
NC Jammer running on the high, but gets stopped by Callie. Hex almost out, only has Alanile Hacha to get around. That's easier said than done. Oh, but they're out of play. Everyone with their arms in the air. And NC making her way out.
So now the game is on to try to catch the pack. The pack is keeping things moving halfway through this jam. Hex now able to catch up to the back of the pack, tries to get past a couple of skaters, calls off the jam.
Had some skaters on the infield in the back, so they may have been able to pick up a few points on the ground. We'll see.
There we go, 2 points. I promise. There they go, 2 points up on the board for the Voodoo Dolls. And with that whistle, it is time for halftime. Time to change benches and take a break. So that is the halftime break. It'll be a 20-minute break for halftime. Your score right now, Voodoo Dolls 57, Cupids 55.
A quick reminder that masks are required while inside the Hall of Dames. Unless you are actively taking a sip or eating, your mask must remain on your face and cover both your nose and mouth. And really quickly, before you head out to the bathroom, get your raffle tickets out. Get out your orange raffle ticket for some prizes. Our raffle ticket number is 786105. One more time, that's 786105. And head to the raffle booth right under our team signs, or head to the announcer's booth and we can point you to the right way to pick up your prize. We're still looking for someone to come claim their raffle ticket prize. So just one more time, if you could get out your orange raffle tickets. And if you have ticket number 786105, please come to our raffle table.
Hello! Can I please have everybody's attention? Thank you for coming to the Arizona Derby Dames February bout, Voodoo Dolls versus Cupids. So I have an announcement to make. Somebody that has been involved in our league for a very, very long time, that we love and adore very, very much, is going to be leaving us and moving and starting a new chapter of his life. Rev Knuckleface is moving to, where are you moving to? Where are you moving to? Him and his beautiful lady Jen are moving to Ohio. So we have some things that we would like to give to you. Because you have, how many seasons now? You lost count, yeah. Well, he's been here longer than me, and I've been here for almost 12, so that's a lot. Huh? Yeah, there you go. All right. So he has been a ref and was recently the Brutal Beauties coach. He has been a hot shot coach. There is a number of things that this wonderful man has done for this league. And we want to present to you, sorry, we had to hide things from him. So this, if you guys want to, this is from the Beauties for their coach. This is for you from the league. There is another one that we will have with us for always. You will always be a part of the Arizona Derby Dames. I also have a couple other things for you that I'm giving you on Saturday, because today was just one of those days where everything went wrong. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lollipop. Oh, you want me to read it? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay, now you're going to make me cry. Okay. You have been an inspiration for so long. It's going to be strange without you. You've been our captain, our teacher, our mentor, our wisdom, our level-headedness in times of chaos, and most importantly, you've been our friend. Travel safe, oh captain, my captain. We've got your back. That's from the regulators. So please, everybody, join us in giving Rev Knuckleface and Jen a good farewell.
Okay.
All right, fans, get ready for another merchandise toss. We've got some friends getting ready. There they are, spinning out onto the track right now. So make some noise if you'd like to get yourself a little bit of Arizona Derby Dames swag.
Hey everybody, make sure you're looking out for our 50/50 raffle tickets. Currently, the 50/50 raffle is only at $65, so make sure you're buying those tickets so we can get that amount a little higher. The more raffle tickets bought, that means the more money for you. I think it's the girl in the heart costume who has the 50/50 raffle ticket, so keep your eyes out for a giant heart walking by. Again, most of my feedback in life is like, I need you to calm down a little bit and be a little quieter. This is a close game.
Yes.
I was not expecting it to be this close. Last scrimmage was
I like the MASHUP bouts. right, Derby fans, who's ready to get back to the action? We are just about ready to pick things up and get underway here in the second half. And it's a very close bout so far here in our adult mashup half of the evening. The Voodoo Dolls 57, Cupid's 55. Referees are scattering to their various points, which means we're just about ready to get started. So, starting things off here in the second half, your first jammer for the Cupids is Rose.
And jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is Voodoo Dolly. Rose quickly making her way to the front of the pack, but being taken to the infield by Lightning the Queen. Dolly making her way to the front of the pack, picking up lead jammer.
Rose bumped off onto the infield there by the Voodoo Doll defense. As Voodoo Dolly comes around for her first scoring pass.
Rose gets taken to the infield again by Lightning the Queen. Dolly is pushing her way through the front of the pack, trying to score some points. And Rose sees an opportunity and takes it, making her way out at the front of the pack.
And Dolly calls off the jam from the back of the pack.
Voodoo Dolls get 4 points, slightly widening the lead.
We are going to have a power jam for the Voodoo Dolls now. Heard her penalty called on Rose there, so NC Jammer down off the track, and they've lost the blocker as well, so 3-on-3 pack, and a power jam for Princess Leia and the Voodoo Dolls.
Mixing it around a little bit in the blocker box. This gives the Voodoo Dolls a great opportunity to widen their lead.
Our first power jam of the second half. The power jams of the first half were largely defensive affairs. As Slayan out of the front of the pack trying to get those Cupid jammers pushed out of play and is able to do so.
Yeah, Hex did a great job at playing some offense, getting a goat in the back.
Slaya had made her way through the pack, and then Al Annihilate on the front of the pack said no thank you and knocked her off onto the infield. 22 seconds left on the power jam clock.
I feel like that's like the 10th time tonight that a jammer has almost been out, and then Al just takes them straight to the infield.
And Slaya calls it off with 9 seconds left on the clock. Slaya says that is enough. 5 points on the power jam for Slaya.
We're bringing back our streak of 5-point power jams in the second half of the game. It looks like Cherry Kiss jamming for the Cupids.
And Voodoo Baby jamming for the Voodoo Dolls.
Baby makes it to the front of the pack and is coming around to score some points.
Cherry Kiss still trying to find her way through the pack, weaving her way past that last blocker and gets out, so she'll try to limit this to one scoring pass for Baby.
Aunt Tifa doing a great job stopping the jammer. Oh. And Baby tries to call it off. Ooh, it looks like potentially another power jam for the Voodoo Dolls. I see Cherry Kiss in the box, swapping out the jammer for Dolly, or I almost said Dolly Spartan, Voodoo Dolly. Never mind.
We've got a team timeout. Voodoo Dolls are going to take a second to talk this one over before their impending power jam. Try to maximize their offensive strategy. So with 11:22 to go here in the third quarter, the Voodoo Dolls have jumped out to a 70-55 lead. They've done all the scoring so far in the second half.
You know, and while we have time, there are so many awesome raffle prizes tonight at our raffle prize table. You'll see our league members coming around with raffle tickets for you to purchase. For our item raffle prizes, tickets are $1 per ticket or 6 tickets for $5. For our 50-50 cash prize raffle tickets, tickets cost $5 a ticket or 3 tickets for $10.
All right, we are back to the action, and once again, it's a power jam for the Voodoo Dolls. Voodoo Dolly out there to do the jamming. Full complement of blockers in the pack, 4-on-4.
Hollywood takes Voodoo Dolly to the infield, but now is being kept in the back by a wall of white blockers. Voodoo Dolly's almost out.
And the Voodoo Dolls blockers able to trap one of the Cupids back in behind to get the blockers out of play. Now Voodoo Dolly has to deal with the blockers herself on this scoring pass.
Hollywood getting out, going to the front to join her teammates to try to stop Voodoo Dolly.
Hollywood able to shake off a block and apply a block of her own right at the end of the clock.
Let's see how many points she gets.
The power jam nets the Voodoo Dolls 4 points.
And we have Cherry Kiss back on the jammer line for the Cupids.
Jamming for the Voodoo Dolls is Militia.
Maybe not.
We've got a wholesale switching of the pack, and it's a power jam for the Cupids now. So the Cupids have a great opportunity to put some points on the board. Penalty picked up by Voodoo Dolly during her power jam. So now Cherry Kiss out there all by herself.
Let's see if she can close that lead. Oh, quickly making her way around the Voodoo Dolls, coming around to score some points.
Cherry Kiss battling up against the rail against Lightning the Queen.
Mimi Mahler and BB My Valentine are trying to keep Nikki Badass in the back as a goad. And Cherry Kiss calls off that jam.
Four points for the Cupids there picked up.
Just trading 4-point power jams.
Yes. It's going to be Evil Pendall for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Skeletori for the Cupids. We keep having people from the same team jam against each other. Ooh. Evil Pendall quickly making her way to the front of the pack. Ooh. Being held up by Thigh Voltage. Tori making her way to the front and gets slowed down, but makes it out, not lead. And Evil Pendall is coming around trying to get Tori's point. And she decides it's not worth it. It seems like Evil Pendall maybe picked up a penalty.
I do see a jammer in the penalty box. Means we've got another power jam for the Cupids.
Looks like Irish Car Bomb doing the honors. Let's see how many points she can get this time.
Irish Car Bomb going up against a full pack of blockers.
Aunt Tifa trying to play some offense for her. Very spread out pack. Cupid's trying to keep a goat in the back. And Irish Car Bomb makes it out. She's got 20 seconds to come score some points. The Cupids are trying to keep some points there for her in the back.
Couple of blockers taking a tumble there at the back of the pack. That defensive wall for the Voodoo Dolls now able to unite up in front, trying to keep Irish Car Bomb pinned in the back.
As long as Car Bomb can pass a few of their hips, she can pick up a few points for her team. Ooh, seems like a 0-point power jam.
0-point power jam indeed. So an excellent defensive effort by the Voodoo Dolls, and as a bonus, they were able to secure a penalty against the Cupid's jammer, so we've got yet another power jam. Now for the Voodoo Dolls.
It's very easy to pick up a jammer penalty when you're power jamming because everyone's energy is focused on you. Princess Leia doing the honors. Being held up by Al and Alhecha. Some of the Voodoo Dolls coming up to play some offense. Ooh.
25 seconds left on the power jam. Slaya still trying to get past that defensive wall. Bumped off onto the infield once again, and the pack grinds to a halt here in the turn.
A very fast-moving pack for a while. We've got about 10 seconds left.
So there we are again, another 0-point power jam, another splendid defensive effort. A lot of power jams awarded and not a lot of points scored. And before we get to the next power jam, we're going to have an official timeout. So with 5:16 left to go in the third quarter, your score right now, Voodoo Dolls 78, Cupids 59.
And I just want to remind you about our AZDD merch booth. Please make sure you visit our merch booth to get your favorite league and team merchandise. We have t-shirts, tank tops, hats, koozies, as well as stickers and buttons of your favorite team. That is also where you can get your souvenir cups for the night.
So it looks like we are morphing into an official review. Have not seen a signal yet as to if this is a team challenge. We will wait and find out once they have discussed it. Head referee Reverend Knuckleface will let us know. Hey fans, don't forget, work with us on masking. We are asking all of our fans to please keep your mask over your nose and mouth the entire time while inside the Hall of Dames. Unless you're actively drinking or eating, your mask should remain on your face for the safety of all of our fans, our skaters, and our league mates. Thank you. It was indeed a team challenge. Challenged by the Cupids regarding a penalty on Mimi Mahler. So penalty issued to Mimi Mahler for failure to reform, and the penalty stands.
You know, in roller derby, you all have to kind of stay in the same place. We call that the pack. And if you break the pack and you do not bring it back together, you can get a penalty for that. Fun fact. It's a very easy penalty to get, but a very annoying penalty to get.
Okay, so for the first time in a while, we have equal jammer strength on the line. It's going to be Voodoo Baby for the Voodoo Dolls.
And Cherry Kiss for the Cupids. Ooh, Cherry quickly making her way through the pack.
So Cherry Kiss making her way now on a scoring attempt as Voodoo Baby moved off onto the infield once again by the defense of the Cupids. Cherry Kiss able to sidestep her way through the pack and get past the blocker.
Voodoo Baby still stuck in the pack. Finally making it out, coming around. Ooh, Cherry picks up even more points and calls it off.
So 9 points on the board during that jam, a very productive jam for the Cupids. 78-68, Voodoo Dolls in front. They have Spock Block on the jammer line.
And Skeletori for the Cupids. Skeletori quickly making her way out the pack, trying to keep the momentum going for the Cupids. Oops, Spock Block almost making their way out. Tori comes around and got stopped by her own team member. Gets back up, coming around. She has about 20 seconds to score some more points. Spock Block still not out of the pack.
Tori was rerouted up into the rail there by the defense of the Voodoo Dolls on her second scoring pass, but manages to get her way through the pack and calls off the jam.
We have our first lead change.
First lead change in quite a while.
Yes,
Cupids jump out in front now, 83-78. They have fought all the way back and have erased the lead the Voodoo Dolls have built up since halftime. And on top of that, it's going to be an official timeout. But on top of that, we have a power jam for the Cupids on tap, it would appear, unless the officials change that, which they can do. So we'll wait and see as the officials get together there. Regulators are going to talk this one over on the infield.
You know, normally I would say this is a great opportunity for the Cupids, but power jams have not been working out too well for the offensive team tonight. While the officials talk it over, I want to tell you about Lost Dutchman Tattoo. Lost Dutchman Tattoo is a tattoo shop specializing in various styles from realism to traditional. You can also customize your own tattoo. Walk-ins are accepted, and the shop is located on 4121 North 19th Ave.
All right, we're back to it. The Cupids again have jumped in front, 83-78, and they send Skid Vicious to the jammer line.
Let's see if she can break this streak of power jams. Skid almost makes it out. Is stopped by Lightning the Queen and Princess Leia.
So Skid Vicious still not clear of the pack. The Voodoo Dolls still playing stout defense here in the power jam. 15 seconds to go on the Power Jam clock. Skid's looking for an opening.
And you know the jammer can't call off the jam until they've made it out of the pack for the first time. The Voodoo Dolls, knowing that Skid cannot make it around to score some points, let her out so she can call off the jam. And it seems like she may have picked up a penalty in that jam. See a lot of shuffling on the track.
Voodoo Dolls putting their power offense on the track.
It looks like we might have a timeout, so that might change.
Looks like a team timeout. Team timeout by the Cupids. So the Cupids want a second to talk over their Power Jam defense. With 1:17 to go here in the third quarter, Cupids out in front 83-78. It's been a back and forth bout all the way through. Be sure to visit the Arizona Derby Dames snack bar to grab a cold beverage or snack. All proceeds go back to the league, and your support is greatly appreciated. So there's always a lot more time.
Voodoo Dolly back up on the jammer line for the Voodoo Dolls.
Power Jam for the Voodoo Dolls here. Try to put them back into the lead, perhaps, if they can buck the trend of defensive-oriented Power Jam so far. Voodoo Dolly able to, no, surprise, not able to find an opening to the front of the pack. That was closed off quickly by Alan Iolacha.
White trying to keep someone in the back to split the pack. Dolly's trying to push them forward.
And Mimi Mahler able to break out of the back of the pack and reunite at the front.
The pack speeds up, trying to stay away from Dolly.
Mimi Mahler again on the defensive effort, routing Dolly off onto the infield with 10 seconds to go on the Power Jam clock.
Dolly has to reset behind everyone so she doesn't get a penalty. We've got 5 seconds left. She can't call it off. And the time runs out. Oop. Another 0-point Power Jam.
If you like defense, this bout is all for you. We have another Power Jam.
Let's see if we can get more than 0 points. We'll see.
All right, it's another Power Jam. It is NC Jammer on the jammer line for the Cupids as the Cupids spin a couple of extra blockers out, and the Voodoo Dolls respond in kind with a couple of their high-grade blockers as the jam gets underway. Last jam of the third quarter.
NC working her way to the front, being held to the rail. NC's almost out, but gets pinned to the rail by Nikki Badass. And then knocks over Strange. Oh, does not get taken to the infield by Lightning. And is finally out. Let's see if she can score some points. Break the streak of 0-point Power Jams. Antifa trying to play some offense, get NC some points, keep the pack in the back.
All right, another defensive struggle during the power jam. We will wait on the official score from the infield. 4 points on the power jam for the Cupids. So they expand their lead slightly as we get ready to take our third quarter break. The Cupids 87, Voodoo Dolls 78. Cupids going on a scoring run there at the end of the third quarter to take the lead.
All right, everyone get out your orange raffle tickets to see if you've won a prize. All right, our next raffle ticket is number 786-239. One more time, that's 786-239. If you have the lucky winning raffle ticket, make sure you head over to the raffle prize table over by the team signs in the announcer booth. And if you want a chance to win a t-shirt, start to make some noise. Ooh, you might need to be a little louder if you want a t-shirt. Make sure you're still keeping an eye out for our league mates selling our 50-50 raffle tickets. We're now up to $90, but I still think we can do a little better than that. So make sure you are looking out for the green tickets. Like I said, look for the girl wearing the red heart costume. She's very hard to miss.
All right, the quarter break clock has struck zeros, and we're ready to get back to the action. Looks like we are starting things off with a power jam. It's going to be the Voodoo Dolls on the power jam.
With Hex jamming. A little bit of a pile up. The white team's keeping a goad in the back.
Power jam clock halfway gone. It's going to be another defensive struggle, it looks like. Hex has not been able to get clear at the front of the pack.
White was sending some players up to try to play some offense.
Just a few seconds left here on the power jam clock, and Hex again bumped off out of the infield. And that'll do it. The clock expires. Another defensive effort on the power jam.
This is the most 0-point power jams that I have ever seen.
Back to full strength on the jammer line once again. It's Skeletori for the Cupids.
And Voodoo Princess out for the Voodoo Dolls. Slaya quickly making her way out of the pack. Tori almost making it out, and she's out, chasing down Slaya.
Slaya now catches the pack and is working on a scoring pass, trying to thread a way through to the front of the pack, and just before going off onto the infield, calls off the jam.
Let's see if she could get everyone's points. Almost all the points, 4 points. And we have Cherry Kiss back out on the jammer line for the Cupids.
And that's Voodoo Baby for the Voodoo Dolls. So we had Baby to the front of the pack, but then Cherry Kiss able to be the first one out. Baby quickly out behind her about.
We have another jammer race. They're both flying down the track. Red is doing a great job keeping a point in the back for Cherry.
One point for the Cupids. 88-82, Cupids in front. NC Jammer is going to be your jammer for the Cupids.
And Spock Block is jamming for the Voodoo Dolls. NC trying to follow Spock Block through the white wall, but they close that gap. NC jumps around Hex, manages to make it out. Spock Block is almost out, but has to reset. NC's coming around to see if she can get some points. A bit of a pile up in the back of the pack. And NC's out. She has about 10 seconds left to try to pick up some points. And I know she's fast enough. The pack speeds up a little bit. Ooh, and we run out of time before NC can pick up any more points.
So 5 points up on the board for the Cupids. Coming to the jammer line now for the Voodoo Dolls is Nikki Badass.
And for the Cupids is Irish Car Bomb. Car Bomb almost makes it out on the low. And Nikki's out, coming around to get some points. Let's see if she can close the gap. It's just Nikki and Mimi Mahler at the front of the pack. And even though Mimi hit Nikki off, Mimi was out of play, so she can just get back on in front. It's coming around for some more points. I think Car Bomb may have decided to just play defense.
That is the case. A little jammer defense there on the back end of the pack, trying to keep Nikki Badass slowed down.
You know, sometimes against Nikki, that's the only option.
Ten points for the Voodoo Dolls, and we have a 93-92 game as we get to 9 minutes to go in regulation. Princess Leia to the jammer line.
And Skeletori for the Cupids. Tori almost makes it out and is out. A very fast-moving pack. It's just all Leia has to do is get around Al, but that's easier said than done. Here's some screaming from the white bench trying to help out their teammates.
Slay is able to sneak by along the inside and get clear of the pack. We'll try to limit this to one scoring pass for Tori.
The Cupid's working on getting Tori some points, and she calls it off. You know, the easiest points to get are people who are on the ground. We have Cherry Kiss on the jammer line for the Cupids.
And that's Voodoo Baby for the Voodoo Dolls.
Cherry trying to get out on the low. Baby fighting in the front against Skid Vicious and Aunt Tifa. Nikki Badass coming up to play some offense. And Cherry goes out of the pack. Coming around.
So now Voodoo Baby trying to catch up to Cherry Kiss as they both try to catch up to the pack. Cherry Kiss looking at the defensive setup, and the Voodoo Dolls were able to get themselves pulled together at the front of the pack and forcing Cherry to call off the jam. No points for either side.
We have Hex on the jammer line for the Voodoo Dolls.
And that's NC Jammer out there for the Cupids.
Hex quickly making her way to the front of the pack. Coming around, trying to close that gap.
NC Jammer trying to fight her way along the rail, tries to spin to the inside and gets bumped off to the infield by Cryptic Callie. Meanwhile, Hex right through the pack on a scoring pass for the Voodoo Dolls and is coming around for some more.
She's got 30 seconds left. That's a lot of time to get some more points. Flies around the low. I don't think anyone touched her. I think that's 2 passes without being touched. 15 more seconds to try to get some more points.
NC slingshotting herself along past one of her blockers to try to put a stop to the scoring, with Hex coming around trying to catch the pack.
Hex has 5 seconds. She picked up a few points at the end. Let's see how many.
It's our highest scoring, nope, not our highest scoring jam of the night, a very high scoring jam. Let's just call it that. The Voodoo Dolls go over 100 points. It's 104.98. Voodoo Dolls in front, and they have a power jam. My goodness. Voodoo Dolly at the jammer line for the Voodoo Dolls as they have jumped into the lead.
Let's see if Dolly can get any points. The Voodoo Dolls are trying to split the pack. They've got Rose in the back. And it looks like Dolly has pushed them out of play.
So 40 seconds left on the power jam clock.
That's plenty of times to get some points. Voodoo still have Rose in the back as a goad, but she's trying to push her way forward to get with her teammates, and well, she's almost out, but gets taken to the infield.
And with Rose pinned at the back, Dolly is able to finish the scoring pass.
She's only got 3 seconds left, though. Dolly's fast, but she's not that fast.
Five-point power jam for the Voodoo Dolls puts them in front 109-98. We've got Hollywood up on the jammer line for the Cupids.
And Evil Pin Doll for the Voodoo Dolls. Hollywood yelling some advice at her offense. And Evil Pin Doll gets out, coming around, trying to keep that white momentum going.
Hollywood fights through the pack and is able to get out the front as well to try to keep this to one scoring pass for Evil Pin Doll.
And Twin gets out on the low, getting some points.
Under 4 minutes to go in regulation. Going to the jammer line for the Voodoo Dolls is Nikki Badass.
And for the Cupids is Cherry Kiss. It's been a very close game.
Cherry Kiss weaving her way, trying to find her way through the pack. And Nikki Badass to the outside using the rail to her advantage and is out on your lead jammer for the Voodoo Dolls.
Cherry Kiss getting out as well. That red team trying to wall up to stop Nikki. And Nikki gets on and calls it. You know, once you pass a person once, you already got their point. You can't get that point again. Sometimes you should just call it off.
Up to the jammer line once again for the Cupids is Hollywood.
And for the Voodoo Dolls, it's Voodoo Princess. Slaya almost making it out. Ooh, and gets past NC Jammer. Hollywood's not far behind her, though. Hollywood's another jammer you don't want behind you. Ooh. Looked like Princess Leia was trying to call it off, but she got hit off the track.
.4 points for the Voodoo Dolls as we're under 2 minutes to go in regulation. Voodoo Dolls have built a 23-point lead here. And the Voodoo Dolls have a power jam. It's Voodoo Baby at the jammer line. So a perfect opportunity for the Voodoo Dolls to really put the finishing touches on this bout right here.
This has been a very strong fourth quarter for the Voodoo Dolls. And Voodoo Baby's already out. Skid trying to take an opportunity to get out behind the or from the white wall.
And Voodoo Baby up at the back of the pack now, trying to thread her way through, waiting for some help from one of her blockers.
Very fast-moving pack. But the white team has a goat in the back. Ooh. Voodoo Baby almost out, but falls to the infield.
Tries again to go through on the inside and route it off to the infield. That'll probably do it for the jam, and indeed it does.
We've got less than a minute left in the fourth quarter.
Lining up for what could be the final jam of regulation. We'll have to see. It's going to be Skeletori for the Cupids.
And Evil Pin Doll for the Voodoo Dolls. I got so distracted by watching roller derby, I forgot I was supposed to talk. Evil Pin Doll almost making it out, but being stopped by Alan Alhacha. Skeletori gets out. Evil Pin Doll gets out. Skeletori's going to come around, try to get some points. See how many she can get.
And Tori gets back up on the track and calls off the jam with Evil Pin Doll spinning in behind. And the clock has hit quadruple zeros, so we will wait and find out if there will be any penalty jam action or not. See if the team skated clean there and how the penalty situation sorts itself out. And there we've got it. With that signal, the bout is officially over. With a final score of 126 to 101, the Voodoo Dolls are victorious. All right, Derby fans, that brings us to the halfway point of the evening. We will step aside for a 30-minute break as we get our teams reset and we get ready for the minor assaults mashup part of your evening.